So we're going to be using the rectangle board. I'm going to do only one live. You can do the other one exactly the same. The only thing that will change is the two different signs. You can make two and use the same ribbons and florals and mesh and everything to make two of them. So these are the two that come in this particular kit. It's an 8-inch welcome sign with the hummingbird and the actual embossed hummingbird. So I'm going to be using pipe cleaners. So what I'm going to do is, this is one rectangle board, and I'm going to take one of my pipe cleaners and start on row A, okay? Row A, right in the center, I put the two ends of the pipe cleaner and twisted it. So I'm going to go down the side now, and I'm going to put one pipe cleaner in, the other pipe cleaner in that side. Okay, so one pipe cleaner is in row B, one's in row C. Push it down in the center and give it a twist. Okay, but what I'm going to do, which is different, is I'm just going to put a bit of hot glue. I just find when you use a little bit of hot glue just across the pipe cleaner onto the board, it stabilizes your pipe cleaner a little. I find it gives it a little bit more stability. Okay, the next I'm going to go on row D and row E with my next side pipe cleaners. Okay, so there's another one. Give it a twist. And then, so you're going to have 4 going down the side of each side. So down F and G. Okay, push down the middle, give it a half twist so the pipe cleaner is going lengthwise. And then H and I. So I will flip this over so you can see what it looks like, but I'll show you what I do when I do use pipe cleaners. Okay, I'm going to take my glue gun and I just go, make sure your pipe cleaner is nice and tight to the board with a half twist. So it's going perpendicular like this. And I just go right across like that, just with a little bead of glue. It just stabilizes the pipe cleaner to the board. Okay, so it doesn't loosen and it doesn't feel like your mesh is loosened. Now, because I use zip ties all the time, I always feel like my mesh is going to fall out. It's not. We know that because Jackie does hers all the time with pipe cleaners. It just makes me feel a little bit more confident when I do use a bit of hot glue. Okay, and this is the back, so you can see the top, the bottom, and 4 along the side. Okay, I'm also going to I'll just put these so they're not spidery leg looking right there. I'm going to put a pipe cleaner right in the center of row H. Okay, just like that. And row C. And that is how we're loading our board to put our mesh and ribbons and stuff on. Okay, so that is where we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the sides, 1 in the top and bottom, and then 2 in the center. All right. So what we have is we have these beautiful ribbons. These are so pretty. So if you like purple, this is the perfect kit for you. So this is a shimmer glitter 2.5 inch. And then we got a 1.5 inch floral leaves. I love this ribbon. Love, love, love it with the deeper purple. And then you got a 5/8 inch shimmer glitter, which is exactly the same color as your 2.5 inch. Okay. So that's the 3 ribbons that we're going to be using. And you have 40 pre-cut pieces of this apple green mesh. It's beautiful. Same color as the greens that are in the sign. So pretty. And then you get 2 of these floral sprays. So you can use one floral spray per swag, okay? And I'm gonna rip my florals apart. So I like to rip them apart into smaller pieces, okay? So it's just paper tape. So I'm just kind of ripping them off the stem. And you can see there's like an actual full stem. It pretty much comes right off once you start ripping the paper. And I'm just pulling them off the main stem. All right, so let's figure out the florals. We'll put our flowers together. So the pink flowers. Alrighty. And then we have these pretty, it's got like a lavender and little tiny pink flowers. There's a piece of just like this big long lavender. There's another piece of this one. And then we got a long piece of this yellow. Okay, so how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the yellow or pink flowers, 3 of these, and 2 of these. Okay, so we're just gonna add these in sporadically into our swag. So first, what I'm gonna do is put my mesh on. Okay, so here's my rectangle board. Like I said, it's all ready to go. I put a little bit of glue in it. You can see how stable the pipe cleaners are now with just using a little tiny bit of glue. They're not moving all over the place anymore. They're actually attached to the board. Okay. The top, I'm going to do a ruffle. I'm going to take out 2 pieces of my pre-cut. First one I'm going to put down is just going to be a ruffle. And then on top of that, I'm going to put a kerfuffle. It's going to just give some dimension. So I'm just folding in the edge here about 1 inch. Okay. And then I'll fold it up here about 1 inch. And then I'm just going to pinch right up the center. Okay, makes that bow tie. And I'm going to put the center of it right down on my pipe cleaner. I'm pushing the center of that mesh down so I get a nice tight grip in that pipe cleaner. Okay. Now I'm going to come on and I'm going to put a kerfuffle on top of this, which is the top cut edge as at the top and the bottom. Factory edge is on the side. And bring the bottom up about the halfway. Bring the top down so you have like a rectangle like this and pinch it up the middle. Okay, so we have a kerfuffle. I'm going to put this now, just open that pipe cleaner up, and then I'm going to put this on top. Now you can just use just 1 piece if you want to save your mesh, but see how this kerfuffle kind of fluffs up, and then the ruffle is just flat. So what will happen is when I go to put the ribbon in, the ribbon's going to sit up along this kerfuffle. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. Again, I'm just going to do a ruffle. I'm just folding it in, and the only reason I'm folding it in is in case it frays at the edge. I don't see any strings. This is pre-cut fine weave. All right, so there it is. I'm going to flip it over. I'm putting this right on my board. Now, if you have a clip, you can just put a clip as well instead of doing the pipe cleaner up and then I'm making my kerfuffle. Bottom up about halfway, top down, flip it over, and then I'm just going to go on top of that ruffle and do my pipe cleaner up tight and give it a twist. So we got the ruffle that's flat, and then the kerfuffle kind of sticks up. Okay, so that's the top and bottom. So the side, I'm just going to do a ruffle. Okay, so we're just going to do a simple ruffle. Again, push down in the center. And the tighter you can get your pipe cleaner around your mesh, the better. And then I have my mesh kind of going towards the outside of the board. Okay? I'm not putting a kerfuffle in it, it's just a ruffle. I'm going to do it just another ruffle. So the only ones that are going to get two pieces are the top, the bottom. And you can see that little bit of hot glue I put across my pipe cleaner makes a huge difference. Especially when you're twisting it, it doesn't get all wonky. You know how sometimes it gets wobbly when you're using pipe cleaners? That doesn't happen when you use just a little bit of hot glue across it. So I'm not going to be putting any tails in the center one, because we're going to do two bows. There we go. What a pretty, look at the base, look at this, how fluffy it is. So we got about 22 inches by 14 inches wide. That's a really nice size swag. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm using these purple ribbons. So I'm going to be doing, let's see. Okay, the top I'm going to use the dark purple. Okay, I'm going to use 2.5, 1.5, and a 5/8. The top and bottom. And then the sides, I'm going to alternate between the 2.5 and then these two. So let's just do it. So I need 14-inch. Sorry, I literally just sat down because I knew I had to make this for my friend for cards tonight. And I wasn't going to go live, and then I thought, oh, might as well. So let's cut 4 pieces right now. And this 5/8 fine glitter is the exact same color as the 2.5 inch, which is, I think, is going to look fabulous. Especially if you love purple, this is the one. Okay, so let's start building this. So I'm going to start at the top and bottom. So I'm going to take my 2.5 inch. I'm going to take a 1.5 inch. And then I'm going to put the 5/8 across the 1.5 inch like that. We're going to pinch that. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that looks good. And I'm going to put that right on the top here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Yeah, let's do the same thing for the bottom. this is the bottom one. Or doesn't really matter, top or bottom. So far, everything's the same. Okay, so this next one, I think I'm just going to use just a solid purple. So whenever I use the solid purple, I'm going to use the 5/8 as well. Ooh, that looks pretty. That does look very pretty. Okay, so the next one on the side here, I'm just going to use a 2.5 inch by itself. The other side. I'm going to put some florals in, so I'm going to be putting florals in the top and the bottom, and probably the 2 side ones. That's the center. Oh, I have my center mesh going the wrong way. I'm sorry. Hold on. I want my center mesh going this way, so it fills up that center spot, not this way. Just those 2 center pieces. There we go. That's what I wanted. And let's see, where is our hummingbird? I was going to put here a small bow right there and a longer bow going down here. Very simple. Let's put some florals in. At the beginning, I ripped apart my florals. So I'm going to put one of each. One's for the top, one's for the bottom. And I'll do a purple and a yellow. So we'll put this longer looking thingy . That looks good. Have the longer thing in the back. Yeah, that looks good to me. I'm just going to take one of these and wrap it around and cut the excess off. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. This will be the top, I guess, now. I'm just going to open these. I think I'm going to slip this underneath my ribbon tails. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So it's on top of my pipe cleaner. I'm going to hit that with a little bit of glue first and then put my ribbon tails back on. Just so it stays in a bit. When you're using zip ties, you don't have to glue. Okay, I think we're done with this pipe cleaner. You can cut it and then we'll just push it down. Dry, I'll move it to the center. We're going to do the same thing down here. Actually, down here, I'm going to be putting a longer bow. So maybe I should focus more of the floral on the side here. Hold on. So we got an extra one here. 2, 2, 2. Maybe that's what I would do. So I'm going to put 2. So this one in the center here. You guys get to hear my thought process. That one here, one flower here, one flower here. I think that works good. And do the same on the other side. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So cut this down. I'm just going to put it underneath, pop a glue, and do that back up. Same with this one, cut it down. Put it in. Now you can glue them literally right into the mesh if you want. Or you can do it like I'm doing, where you just kind of glue it into the ribbon there. Yeah, that's gonna work. And it's got a little bit of floral down the side and at the top. And then we'll spread that out. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so I'm not using the rest of these, so I'll cut the pipe cleaner and then tuck it down into the mesh. Cut the pipe cleaners down, tuck it into the mesh. So now my florals are coming kind of out the middle of my ribbon tails. Or you can do what Jackie does. She glues them into the mesh. Either or, up to you. Both ways work. You like my thought process when I teach it like that? Just kind of explaining how I get to, you know, when I'm designing, how I get to where I get. Okay, so this is the top. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. Cutting these down. Okay, pink. Just dab of glue to keep it in there. Give it a twist. This one is getting this one. Now we're not paying too much attention to the center right now because A, we're going to have a sign, and B, we're going to be putting a couple bows. This one is nothing. And this one is this last pink flower. The hummingbird, the embossed hummingbird, is the exact same hummingbird that is on the welcome sign. So that's what makes it a great double kit, because we're going to build both exactly the same, and the only difference will be the signs. So they do match. You can sell them as a set, or you can sell them individually. There. Okay, then we have this one last long purple one. I will put it at the bottom. We're going to have a bow that's kind of got more longer tails, so you won't see as much as the florals as you would at the top and the sides. So that's what my thought process on just putting a little bit down at the bottom. Okay, so like I said, I think I'm going to put the sign. This is the first sign, kind of like going like that right there. And we're going to put a bow, but a not a long-tailed bow, just a simple bow right there. So we're done. Let's see. Yeah, we're done with this pipe cleaner. Let's cut that off. And then this one as well. This is just kind of a filler for everything to kind of sit on, because you won't see the middle of this by the time we make our bows and put our sign on. Okay, so let's get our sign ready. Take the tape off. Now I am going to use, I think I'm going to use the alligator hook that is on the back. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much the center. So if I have my hummingbird kind of turned sideways like that, with the wings going upwards, remember this is the top, that is the center. So that's perfect. I won't need to use the cable mount. Just gonna slide a pipe cleaner underneath. Give it a couple twists. And I'm just going to move kind of my mesh. I'm not going right here because that's where my bow is going to go. I'll flip it over. What row did I go on? Row. I don't want too much of the mesh showing. I want more of the ribbon showing. Okay, now I'll pull it. A, B, C, D, E. E is where I went with the sign. So A, B, C, D, E right in the center. Okay, and then I'm going to put a simple bow right up here, just with the same ribbons. I probably actually won't use the 2.5 for this upper bow. I'll probably just use the dark purple and the 5/8. Okay, so I'm just going to make a simple bow for up here. Just with, I think, like I said, with the 7/8 and the dark purple. 4 of these at 12 inches. 4 pieces at 12 inches of the dark purple and 4 pieces at 12 inches of the 7/8. Okay, so I'm going to do kind of the bow I did the other day where we didn't need a bow maker. We're going to dovetail only one end of each of these ribbons because I kind of liked how that bow turned out. And you don't need a bow maker for it. Okay, so we got 4 pieces of this dark. And we're dovetailing just one end, and we're going to do the same with the 5/8. So I'm going to take this 12-inch piece, and we are going to fold it. If you put it on a ruler or something, you're going to fold it, put your finger at the 4-inch from the end that's not dovetailed. Put your finger at the 4-inch and fold it over your finger. Okay? And then we're going to pinch it in just above where the fold is. So it's going to give you one loop. All right? And a little tail. Yeah, that'll work good. You can hold it, or if you have a clip, I'm just going to clip them. Okay, again, I'm going to hold it, put my finger at 4-inch and fold it over. Now the good side of your ribbon is facing downwards. So it's facing towards your table. Then I'm going to put a purple, a dark purple. And then I'm going to put a dark purple on the other side. Should I? Yep, that works. And then a light purple. Dark purple. And we'll move the tails around afterwards. Once we move all our loops around. Okay, so all the loops are at the top. I'm just going to take my pipe cleaner and where I've pinched, I'm going to put pipe. Now I would put a zip tie, but not everybody will have a zip tie in their hand. So give it a nice tight twist with your pipe cleaner. And then we'll open up these loops and we can move around the tails as well. Okay, there's the tails, the loops. Yeah, kind of cute. This tail over here. Probably could have made them a little longer, maybe 14-inch. All right, and I'm going to go right over top of that pipe cleaner that we put the mesh on. So let's move some of these tails around. We can move one up here, a loop here, 5/8 here. We don't want to cover too much of the hummingbird up. I'm gonna cut that one down. The angle, there we go. Yeah, if you're gonna do it like this, do 14 inch. It gives you more room to play with your loops and stuff. But the nice thing is you can cut back on the tails that are close to the hummingbird, because we want to see the ribbons. We don't want to cover them up though, or the hummingbird up. There, it's kind of cute. Okay, we're going to do one at the bottom there. I think I can pretty much commit to the sign now. Good twist. Actually, that's such a cute little bow. Isn't that cute? I think it's adorable. Probably could have made it longer. So I'm going to make a longer one. I'm only going to use, I think I'll use one piece of the 2.5 inch. Just trying to decipher how long I want the tail. So I'm going to have the tail at 12 inches. So I'm going to cut one piece at 24 inches of the 2.5 inch here. It will do the same kind of bow, just not as short. There's one piece. Oh God, we got lots. And then we'll do, I don't know, 3, let's do 3 at 18. Of the purple. Because don't forget, you want to use only about a half. I got about a little over a half still, because we do have another one to make. And then I'm going to do 4 of the 5/8 at 18 inches. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see what we got here. So I'm going to put my finger on the 7, flip it over so it hits the 13, and pinch it at the 12. So I'm just using 1, or maybe should use 2. Yeah, maybe I'll use 2. We got lots of it. So 2 at 24 inch. Again, if you have a bow maker, use a bow maker. Okay, so I got 2, and then we'll come in with the dark purple. Got 3 of the dark purple. So those are, I'm going to do the 6 inch. Okay, we're going to take another pipe cleaner and we'll start building this bad boy. Okay, so I'm going to take my 2.5 inch. Here's the other 2.5 inch. Purple, oh, upside down. Dark purple, one at the side. Again, if you have a bow maker, feel free to use your bow maker. Another one at the side. And this one I'm going to put on the top. Put those around. And then we'll come in with the little 5/8. Put one at the side here. That one at this side. Top and the top. So I'm just kind of building on top of each other, and then once you put your pipe cleaner around, you can start pulling apart your bow, your loops. Now if you had a zip tie, it would be much easier to zip tie this. Have some hand strength, pull it tight and pull it around. And this is where we're going to attach it to the board. All right. And now we can start pulling out loops. I know it looks wonky right now. It won't, I promise, once we get it on the board and everything. Just kind of seeing where I want to place everything. Okay. Place it right where these pipe cleaners are. I'm going down those 2 same holes. So I'm pulling it, give it a twist in the back, and now we can open up your loops. I want my 2 big loops kind of to the side like that, right? You probably see why I didn't put too many florals down at the bottom, because our tails do go over top. And I can trim these if I want. Tails going around the wreath. Yeah, this one we're gonna make it different. I like this one. I don't like that one. And I just want to tuck. I don't want too much of I like the green mesh, but I'd rather see more of just the mesh like peeking out. So kind of fix my tails so the tails are over your mesh. And then make sure your florals, because they are wired, you can pull them up and a little bit out. And again, make sure your side tails. Should have did 4 dark purple. But I'm glad I did the 2.5 to the side there. I think I'm going to cut this back a bit. A little too long. Yeah, I like that better. It's always better to have longer tails and cut them back than shorter, because you can't add. You have to redo everything. Okay, I'm just going to quickly do one with my bow maker. Now, if you wanted to do it like this, definitely do 14. Okay, I'm going to do 5-inch loops. Yeah, 5-inch loops. 5-inch tail. 5-inch loops, 5-inch tail. There's the purple. So for the top bow, I'm not using the 2.5 inch at all. I think the 2.5 inch is too big for up top. So we're doing just a solid purple, and then we'll come in with the 5/8. So these are also 5-inch loops too. And then I'm going to come around with a center loop. So I did three of the dark purple, 3 of the 5/8. Come through with a center loop, come down. Okay, so we have 2 tails, 3 loops on each side of each color, not the 2.5 inch. The 2.5 inch is too big up there. There, I think I'll like this a lot better. Sliding my pipe cleaner through my center loop there. I'm going to pull as tight as you can. Usually, like I said, I usually use a zip tie, but twist. Now you're going to grab the bow and twist the bow. Okay? Yeah, this will be better. Okay, let's see what that looks like on. Oh, it's gonna be too big. You know what? I'm gonna go through the mesh. I I'm going to go through the mesh and go into these 2 holes. So it's a little bit higher because this bow is a little bit big. I probably should only did 4-inch loops, but that's okay. So I'm just kind of feeding it through the mesh, and you can see the holes through the mesh. And the wire pokes right through. Okay, let's fluff this again. Okay, we don't want to cover the hummingbird, so I'm just kind of moving the loops towards the outside of the hummingbird. So we don't want to cover it up. Such a different angle when you stand up and actually look at it. That's why I always take pictures and then fix my ribbon tails, because in the pictures you can actually see what needs to be fixed. Cut this a little shorter. Loops. I'm going to cut that a little shorter. There we go. Kind of going over our hummingbird as she's tucked in there. We're going to clean all this up. So the second one will be, I'm not making the second one right now, but the second one will be much easier because you just replicate what you did with this one. Okay, so you're just going to knot the bottom of the pipe cleaner. Okay, pull that knot down. You're going to slide the looped part through, open it, and there we go. Your hanger with the pipe cleaner. And I squished everything. Anyways, it's actually really pretty though. Love the purple. And then the hummingbird is like the star of the show. I wouldn't do as many loops up at the top. I might undo it and just take a few loops out. But anyways, there we go. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.